there is this low-lying, underlying feeling that I'm just not fully happy. Like there's just something missing and I don't know what it is. That there's this sort of unsettling feeling of, I don't want to make a decision because I don't know where to go next. I feel like I'm not fully engaging and present in my life and enjoying it in the way that I want to enjoy it. All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. Hey, it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today's episode is a bit of an impromptu one because I feel like it's messaging that needs to be out there. I feel like somebody needs to hear this. I know I recently needed to hear this, and so I thought it was important to come on today to talk about what it means to be in a rut and what can we do about it? Because let's face it, wallowing in our sorrows and our misery and feeling sorry for us and like life is happening to us is not going to help us be happier, be more successful, and ultimately get out of the freaking rut. So if you're in a rut, or if you can relate to this feeling of why are things not moving for me? Why am I not feeling lit up with joy? Then this episode's for you. And you might be thinking, Rebecca, what does this have to do with business? Because this is a business podcast, more or less. It has everything to do with business. Because when you are running your own business, when you are a creative entrepreneur, a firm owner, you are the lifeblood of that business. Your energy can make or break your customer experience. It can make or break your team dynamic. There's so much to do with your own state of being that will fuel your business. You know, they always say, whoever they are, your personal evolution will fuel your business revolution. And so if we aren't paying attention to our state of being and our happiness level and taking actionable steps to improve it, it is going to hurt our business. And so it's summer and this should be a really happy time, and it is for so many, but I know there are many of you who are still in a bit of a fog, in a bit of a cloud, feeling and wondering, is this it? Is there more? Am I doing the right thing? Should I change direction? Where the frick am I going? And you're feeling a little bit meh. Well, if this is you, I gotcha. We're going to dive into this together. Here we go. I mean, let's be honest. This was not the episode that I was scheduled to record. I was scheduled to record an entirely different episode. But I don't know. When I was going to bed last night, I was just lying there thinking, and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes my best ideas come as I'm about to fall asleep. And if I don't write them down, they're kind of lost forever. So this one I did not write down, but I woke up this morning and I came in to do the podcast recordings, and I thought, there's something about, the last night thoughts in my head that haven't gone away that I think would be really helpful to have in an episode. So I want to talk about this idea of being in a rut. And it's interesting because I recently had this conversation with my own business coach. She was saying a lot of her clients are experiencing this now. It's like the hangover from the pandemic. And I don't want to blame the pandemic for everything, but our lives shifted in such a robust way that it's impossible to expect things to just jump right back to normal. And a big part of what she and I were talking about was this idea of fear and how we were conditioned over at least a year, if not longer, to experience fear. There was all the fears, right? Am I going to get sick? If I get sick, am I going to get my mother sick? Is someone in my family going to die? Is someone going to be hospitalized? Fear of the virus, fear of the vaccine, fear of what it was going to do to your children not being in school, fear of their mental and social development, fear. And it's interesting because I was having the conversation with her and I said, it's funny, like, I don't really feel like the pandemic negatively affected me. Like, I feel very fortunate in that I was able to still go to my office. Sure, there was nobody there, but I got to leave the house every day. We had childcare. Our nanny was here throughout the entire pandemic. No one in my family got severely ill and nobody I knew died. I felt as though I came out of the pandemic rather unscathed. And interestingly, she was saying that, other people she's speaking to feel the same way. And yet, there is this low-lying, underlying feeling that I'm just not fully happy. Like, there's just something missing, and I don't know what it is. And so when I did hire this coach back at the beginning of the year, I was like, I just feel like I need to get back in the driver's seat of my life. Like, I felt as though things were soaring, and then things kind of paused, and I was grateful for the pause, and I was able to do different things and shift gears and start the podcast and launch online courses and connect with women and creatives in a way that I hadn't before. But what that did is it was a bit of, for me personally, a bit of upheaval in that the future that I envisioned for myself now looked different. And the trajectory that I was on before the pandemic is not the one I'm on anymore, and I don't want to be on that one. But I'm finding that there's this sort of unsettling feeling of, I don't want to make a decision because I don't know where to go next. I feel like I'm not fully engaging and present in my life and enjoying it in the way that I want to enjoy it. And so I don't know if this resonates with you, but if you are someone who's been questioning which decision to make, do I want to go here or do I want to go there? Do I want to pursue this aspect of business or do I want to do that? Should I niche down or should I not? Should I go back to school or should I not? Is running my own business really for me? Maybe I should work for someone. What was I thinking? Should I stay in commercial design or should I continue in residential design? Whatever that dilemma might be for you, if this is sort of hitting you where you feel like something is missing, then I think you're going to like this episode because I'm going to give you some exercises that I'm going through that my coach has given me that I think are really powerful. And a quote that she actually gave me, and I don't know who said it, I don't know who says this quote, was really powerful. And she said, when you feel like something is missing, it's me. So when you feel like something is missing, it's you. Like, I'm missing from my life. Like, what's missing in my life? It's me wanting to show up to be that future version of myself. A lot of this comes down to trusting that everything is going to work out for the best. So there's 2 exercises that I think are really useful to help you kind of figure out direction. Because when you're directionless, it's hard to feel excited. It's hard to make decisions. It's hard to feel joy. So much about life is anticipation, looking forward to something, that future version of yourself. And funnily enough, designers over the years who've taken my courses, especially Power of Process, have said that they've had a really hard time with one of the exercises. And one of the very first exercises, and any of my POP alumni will remember this, is that I walk you through is a visualization exercise. And I actually recently did this inside Designer's Room for our mid-year check-in because I think it's powerful to do this from time to time. But the exercise is essentially a visualization exercise to envision your future self. What do you want for your future? And ever since I started doing that exercise, I have had feedback from designers saying they found it really difficult. They had a hard time. They couldn't picture that future version of themselves, or what is that vision that they have for their life. And I couldn't understand that because I always had such a clear vision. I spent a lot of time setting goals, dreaming up big dreams, doing vision boards, that came naturally until it didn't. And now I can say I can relate to not being able to picture your future. For me, it feels like my career has shifted. My business model has shifted. My desires, my likes, my wants have shifted. And so I'm still trying to figure out, what does that look like? And so the first exercise that I think is a powerful one that I have had to revisit is a vision exercise. But it's a vision exercise that is extremely detailed. It is carving out 2 hours, and I can tell you, you need 2 hours because I thought I could do it in half an hour to 45 minutes, and it wasn't enough time. I sort of started and then I stopped. And it's where you take out a journal. You could type in a computer. You could do different ways. Journal's a really great way. And you start to write out, if you are happy in this future version of yourself, what does it look like, but in specific areas? So what I did and what I recommend you do is you group it into areas. So one area might be career and professional. One area might be your relationship with your partner. One area would be health and wellness. One area would be friendship and community. One area would be spirituality. One area would be your sensuality and your sex life and being fulfilled in that area. And it's 5 or 6 quadrants. And you need to take a pause and close your eyes. Listen to music if you find it helpful. Sit outside and stare at the trees, whatever works for you. And you don't have to, you can write long form or you could just bullet point it. But what do you see for your future? What do you want for your future in that one area? And what I liked about this exercise is that instead of it being this whole like big picture, Rebecca, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And it feels super overwhelming. This exercise instead focuses on one specific area. So I can get really intentional and specific and clear. So health and wellness. Okay, I know that for my health, I want to wake up every morning with energy. I know I want a flat stomach with muscle. I've lost all my muscle in my stomach. I want strong arms. I want to be active and move my body every day. These were the things that I wrote down specifically in that section. And when I just thought of that section, it became so much easier. I recommend you write out these 5, maybe 6 sections. Give yourself 15 to 20 minutes per section and just sit and write out all the things you want for your life in that area. For relationship, it might be we take weekend trips every quarter, just the 2 of us. We have sex so many times a month or a week or a day, depending on what you want, right? You know, my partner supports me and allows me to take days off where I don't have to put kids to bed, like whatever it is for you. But getting specific and doing it by section helps get you clarity. And why I think this exercise is helpful to pull you out of a rut is that once you get it all down, and then you read it, you can't help but get a little bit excited. And if you want to take it to the next level and you're an overachiever like I am and you want to carve out the time to do it, I would take all of that and find visual proof and put it into a vision board. I like physical vision boards with magazines, but sometimes I can't find the picture I want in a magazine, so Pinterest is usually helpful. But then I would print that picture, cut it out, and stick it on the vision board. If you're really digitally inclined, you could do it on the computer, do a Pinterest board, but I like the physical board on my wall because I'll look at it every day. And something I learned from a friend of mine who I recently did a vision boarding exercise with is that she literally is intentional and that every morning as part of her morning routine, she walks over to her vision board and she looks at it and she absorbs it. And maybe she says something to herself like, I'm an excellent golfer or whatever. And that's how she starts her day. So she's reminding herself of this future vision. So if you do that and you repeat it the way that my friend does on a daily basis, you're confronting, you're seeing it on a daily basis, there's literally no way that you can't achieve that in your life and you can't get excited about the future and start to come up with ideas. I can tell you when I did my vision board, I put a picture of a golfer. I don't even know where it came from. I saw this picture. I was like, I always kind of wanted to learn how to golf. I love the idea about being able to travel. I love the outdoors. As you guys know, I love to be in nature, but I also am like social. I love the idea that I could be out there, like having lunch, having a cocktail, like on the golf course, like chatting with people, being social. Anyways, so I put it there and I look at it and I'm like, I know this person is a member at that. I wonder if they would know where I could take lessons. It's literally not something that has ever been on my mind to reach out to someone to book a golf lesson, but because I'm seeing that, the idea comes into my brain. It's like the power of suggestion in a way. But what's being suggested to me are my deepest desires. It's really freaking cool. I'm actually getting really excited just talking about this. I know for me, what I've struggled with when it comes to vision is like making decisions. And that's where my business coach said to me, she was like, you're having a hard time making a decision because you don't have any clarity of where you're going. And I was like, brain exploding emoji. Right? You're having a hard time making a decision because you don't have clarity for where you're going. And she was right on the money. When I was busy in it to win it, growing my design firm, I was like in my brain, I want 30 employees. I'm going to have this office space, hustling and bustling, like a Devil Wears Prada vibe, but like with the nice boss, not the bitchy boss, right? It's going to be like busy and happening and hopping. We're going to have a team. We're going to do these big projects. I'm going to get featured. I was making shit happen and I was going and it was super clear what I wanted. And then the pandemic hit and I shifted gears and I started doing this. And I freaking love this. Like, guys, I love the podcast. I love teaching. I love bringing people together in community. And I absolutely freaking love helping to instill confidence in other women. So that's wonderful. But it's kind of messing with the vision that I had because this wasn't part of my plan. And so now I've had to really get clear on, okay, if I'm not doing what I was doing the way I was doing it, what is this new vision? What is this new thing that I'm striving for? Because if I want to launch another course, or do I create a membership that's accessible for everyone, that's not exclusive the way Designer's Room is? Like, which one do I do first? Or should I do them at all? I don't know, and I can't make a decision because I don't know where I'm going. I need a long game. Because then that'll rile me up and get me excited. And then when opportunities come my way, I'll know which ones to say yes to. I'll know which ones to pursue, which ones to say no. So that's the first exercise that I think will help you feel re-energized. And heck, if you need to like get out of your everyday and go rent a hotel room for the night to do this exercise, freaking do it. Go to someone's cottage. Go do this exercise with a girlfriend where you both sit there independently with your own music and you write it and then you can share. Like, you make it yours, but do it. And then find a way to get it in front of your face because repetition changes the brain. When you repeat something over and over again, you learn it. You know, we were talking about this yesterday about the idea of learning a second language. Like when I wanted to learn Spanish, which I don't know, I can't confidently say I'm fluent in anymore, but there was a time when I was completely fluent and I was very proud of it. But I freaking studied. I went to classes. I stuck the words on my mirror in my house on my wall. I would sit there and memorize. I would repeat. I lived in Spain where I was surrounded by the language every single day. I tried speaking it every single day. I fell in love with someone who didn't speak English, so I was forced to speak it. And eventually it became so second nature that I was literally dreaming in Spanish. Literally, I would lose the English word or vocabulary for something because I was so used to using it in Spanish. Or I would find there was a word in Spanish to describe something that we didn't have the same thing in English. That was repetition. So the same can be said for you manifesting the life you want, for you feeling joy every day. If you are getting clear on your vision and you're showing it to yourself, maybe it's just a sticky note on your mirror with an affirmation, but maybe it's your vision board. Okay. The second activity or exercise that I am working on that I think is really powerful is to think about the person that you are when you're lit up and excited about life. So I'm sure, because I know I have examples of it. I'm sure you have examples in your life of a time when you were excited, lit up, fired up, passionate, feeling good. How did you act? And this kind of came about because I was talking about how, when I was really, growing my design business and it was like, so everything was like thriving, some of the things that I would do was I would show up on social media and talk about this quote and talk about the book I'm reading. And I was doing, 75-day challenges and getting everybody else excited. I was sharing all kinds of how-to videos on my YouTube channel. I was showing up in person. I was on stage. I was going to industry events. I was working with my team, having weekly meetings. I called them Team Teas, where I would show up and get everyone to share 2 wins that they'd had, to talk about what's going well in their life and in business. I did so much extra stuff because I felt excited and motivated. What are the things that you do when you're feeling good? Are you singing in the shower? Maybe you talk about your plans with the people around you. Maybe you're excited about it. Maybe you book holidays when you're feeling good and you're excited. You book a trip. Maybe you go for a run and you exercise. Maybe you eat healthy because you're feeling really good. You just want to have a salad or protein, and you go to bed early because you're excited about life. But when you're in a rut, you probably drink too much, might stay up a little too late watching Netflix, kind of sleep in the morning, have to drag yourself out of bed, and the cycle repeats. I'm not telling you to change immediately. What I'm suggesting you do is grab a pen and paper and you write it down. Who are you when you are your most energized self? What does it look like in your life? What gives you energy? What is it that lights you up? And how do you respond when you are lit up? So for me, the examples, and just create a bullet point list. The examples are things like, I share the personal development books that I'm reading with my team and I encourage them to read them. I have meetings with my team that aren't about business, that are just about personal development. I show up on Instagram sharing really what's going on and how I'm feeling. I attend industry events and connect with people. Those are just some examples for me. Sing in the shower. I make plans for dinner with girlfriends and go to a restaurant. When you feel alive, how do you act? What are the things that you remember doing and saying and being? Write those down and then reflect and look at them. Can you maybe do one of those, even though you're not really feeling it yet? Because maybe if you do one of those things, it might be a little taste of that life you know you have inside you. Like maybe if next week when I go to my status meeting, I say, hey guys, we're just going to pause. We're going to do a check-in. I want to share a win. I want everyone to share a personal win and a professional win. And we're going to ring that bell. And it might take half an hour of unproductive time, but I'm going to do that. What is it that you can do? Do you turn on the music in the morning in the bathroom? Like, I know when I'm feeling good, I love to listen to music. But when I'm tired and I'm dragging and I'm like, meh, I just kind of get through the morning. I do my thing. I put on a pretty face, put on a brave face, but I don't feel like showing up. One of the things for me was attending industry events. And for the longest time since the pandemic, I've really had zero desire. And I have been invited to a lot of events. I've either said yes, like RSVP'd yes and just not gone, or I've said maybe, or I've said no, not because I can't go, or if I can't go, I feel relieved that I have some reason I can't go. But I forced myself, and I shared this on Instagram a little while ago, back in June, to go to an event on my own. I didn't have someone to go with me, and I thought, what if I don't know anyone? I don't feel very social. And I went, and I left that event feeling so rejuvenated. I connected with people. I chatted with people. I looked at beautiful things. I got inspired by fabric and materials. And I left that event and I thought, fuck, I'm so proud of myself for making myself go. Because I did not want to go. And yeah, it didn't cure everything, but it sure as heck reminded me that that person's still there. So those are the 2 exercises that I have done that are helping me feel more alive, get in alignment with this new version of me, start to find some clarity on where I want to go. It's okay to not know, and it's okay to be in a rut, because you can't be 100% all the time. It's just humanly impossible. And if you were, you wouldn't appreciate it anymore anyways, because that would just be your status quo. That would be your baseline, right? So take some time to reconnect with that person that you know was there or has been there, and just write it down. That's the first step. Get things on paper and segment into smaller areas to help you eliminate that overwhelm of needing to figure out that big picture. Because I can tell you, I'm still clarifying my big picture. Like, where the heck am I taking this coaching business? Where the heck am I taking my design business? Do I want to niche down and just do specific projects? Do I want to grow? Like, what do I want to do? And where do I see it taking me? How do I want to live my life in 10 years? Do I want to be tethered to an office, or do I want to be able to work from anywhere? Or do I want to only have to check in once a week for 2 hours? Like, what do I want for my life? And it's taking time to get clear. And I'm not saying you have to know everything, write down the tiniest detail, because things are going to change, and what you think it's going to be might be different. But if you can't get clear, it's going to be hard to show up and go after the future. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that very impromptu episode that Vera, my podcast producer, is going to be like, what the heck, Rebecca? This is not what we talked about. But guess what? That's the beauty of a podcast. I get to show up, share what's going on in my life, and I know that someone listening can really resonate with this. And if you do this exercise, it would really, 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 really mean so much to me if you let me know. You can send me a DM on Instagram at Rebecca Hay Designs, or just join our Designer Meetup Facebook group and post it in there. I'm always asking for people to post in the group, and nobody posts. So I'm going to start asking these questions in the group, because people are always posting other things, but I want to know from you. I want to hear from you. Podcasts are not interactive. I don't know what resonates unless you tell me. And of course, if you found this valuable, this podcast is free. We bring as much value as we can to you. Please pass it on and share with a friend. Share with someone else you think could get value. That would mean the most to me. And obviously, if you can leave us a review on iTunes, that means so much. So many of you have left such beautiful reviews, and I'm sorry I haven't responded to them. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do, but they warm my heart every time I see them. So thank you to those of you who've already done it. Keep going. Keep on keeping on, as they say. You got this. We're going to get it. We're doing it together. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. The Resilient by Design podcast is produced by Vera Marquez, edited by Abby Circatella, and hosted by yours truly, Rebecca Hay.